Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Let's get into some of the good and welfare. Thank you, everyone, for joining this class, of course, in the merit of all the Jewish people, especially in the land of Israel, those who need to be rescued, those who need healing, those that are on the front lines. And of course, if you would like to sponsor a class, sponsorships are available. Please put a message us, put a message in the comments, or send us a direct message, and we would love for you to do that and help us continue making these classes. Kai, can you close the door, please? All right. Might have some guests, some of the kids, but okay. All right, hold on. Okay. All right, that's it.
This is my foot. Put cream on it.
Okay. It doesn't need cream. You need to go to bed. Go to your bed.
Who told the cream was that special for girls?
Yes, I'll come in 1 minute, okay? All right. So, let's get into it. So, in this week, we're going to be discussing a very special person. This Shabbos is going to be the 80th yahrzeit of Rabbi Yitzchak Schneerson. He is the father of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. He was a descendant of the first three Rebbes of Chabad, and he was the rabbi in Yekaterinoslav, then became Dnepropetrovsk, Ukraine. At the time was in the part of the Soviet Union and the Russian Empire. Previously, he became rabbi in the 1912 or so, around then, 1915 maybe, right before the First World War, and he was one of the few rabbis who stayed in Russia through the persecutions of the Soviets, and somehow he managed to last there until he was eventually arrested in 1936, I believe. He was arrested and tortured and subsequently jailed and then exiled by the Soviets until his untimely passing in 1944 at the age of about 65, I believe, or 60, something like that. I don't have the numbers in front of me. And on the 20th day of Av, which is the Shabbos. And he was really arrested for arranging kosher matzah in the Soviet Union, in the entire Soviet Union. Of course, we all know Ukraine is the breadbasket of the world, and because of that, he was able to arrange kosher matzah, and he himself supervised it and would not compromise at all on that. Now, aside from his activism that we just mentioned, he also was a tremendous Talmudist and halachic, involved in halachic responsa and in his rabbinate, as well as an amazing Kabbalist. And he was known for teaching Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, and had a unique way of looking at everything, that he would take Talmudic topics and try to translate into Jewish mysticism. And unfortunately, most of his writings were lost. They were confiscated by the Soviets and never seen again. I don't think anybody even knows where they may be. Probably were destroyed. He had notebooks and notebooks and notebooks, all destroyed. The only things that are extant are actually the writings that he wrote during his exile. During his exile, he was allowed to have very few books. He had a Chumash, a Zohar, a Tanya from Hasidic works, and a few Mishnayos, etc. And he used to write on the margins of his books. And then eventually, once his wife joined him in exile in this godforsaken place of Chiale, it's in some sort of city out in Kazakhstan, and what happened was she would actually make ink, and he tried to buy him notebooks, even when they could barely afford bread. It was so important for him, and it really gave him a lot of hope and passion back in his life, that he was able to write, because he had no one to talk to. There was nobody there that he could talk to, but at least he could write. And those are the only things that really survived. Now, we're going to talk about tonight is actually a teaching that survived orally until about 1989, when what happened was a chassid who had been present at one of Rabbi Levi Yitzchak's speeches at some point heard this teaching and reported it to the Lubavitch Rebbe that he had spoken about this teaching in Israel at a gathering in honor of this yahrzeit. I guess that was at the time, I forget which yahrzeit, 45th or so. I think it was 45th yahrzeit, and essentially the Rebbe asked for the teaching to be repeated to him, and the Rebbe himself explained this teaching to a children's rally, actually. So even though these are very deep Kabbalistic works, and a lot of times they're very cryptic, because of the fact that he had to write shorthand, he was writing on the margins of books, he didn't have a lot of paper or pen, as you mentioned, trying to make ink out of berries, etc. You can actually see, if you go to the Chabad library in New York, you could actually see they have some of the documents that he wrote on. You could actually see the colorful ink, the greens and the pinks and the purples that were made out of these berries. At any rate, so let's discuss this teaching that the Rebbe spoke about in 1989. So, again, we know that the Rebbe's the Rebbe's teaching, the Rebbe is talking to children at a children's rally, but at the same time, this is something that could be, obviously, it's not just for children, but could even be explained to children. And obviously, it has to be explained in a special way. Now, this Mishnah that the Rebbe is explaining is actually the Mishnah that is traditionally in the back of the Siddur, and before, when a person has, God forbid, lost a parent or is on a yahrzeit or davening, leading the services, what they do is at the end of the prayers they say a Mishnah, because Mishnah has the same words as Neshama, and it's a very special thing to study Torah and merit of the person who passed away, and thereby we are able to say an extra Kaddish and elevate the soul of the one who passed away. So this Mishnah is traditionally said, this Mishnah is traditionally said part of that, and the Mishnah goes as follows. If you have a needle that is not pure, it's ritually impure, so what you do is you put it on the steps of a cave. The cave has a natural body of water. Hold on one second. Yeah, label. Yeah. There. I'm going to help you in a minute. Can you go wait? Label, please go wait for me. I'll be with you. There. We're not there. Tati's doing a class. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is what happens. So you have a needle that's ritually unclean, and you go into a cave, and in the cave there's this natural body of water that can purify the needle. However, if you put the needle into the cave, you're going to lose it. You're not going to. What are you going to do? Dive into a cave and try to find it, or even if it's a mikvah, whatever it is, it's going to be very hard to find the needle. So what you do is you put it on the steps of the cave. And then the Mishnah continues: you splash the water with your hands, you move it back and forth, and then once the wave passes over the needle, tahira, it is pure. That is the Mishnah, and this is what many people say when they have a yahrzeit or they're in the mourning period after loss of a relative or a parent, etc. Then this is the Mishnah that they say. So the Rabbi Levi Yitzchak interpreted this Mishnah as follows: that there's a practical lesson that we could learn from this. That what is a needle? A needle is something that has a sharp point on one end, and on the other end has a hole. You stick something in there, a thread, and you take the needle and you poke it through. That allows the thread to now be inserted into this garment that you're sewing, and from this you can make a beautiful garment. So the Rabbi Levi Yitzchak explained that if you want to, how do we reveal godliness into this world? How do you make the material that is everything has a spiritual identity? How do you make that revealed into this world? So, for example, if a child, again, the Rebbe is speaking to children. If a child were to have a drink of water, and before he makes a blessing on the water, before he drinks the water, he makes a blessing. What is the blessing you make on water? Shehakol niya b'dvaro. That everything comes from God's word. Everything in the world is created by God. Even something as simple as water. And by doing that, this child now elevates the water, and he's saying this water is not just water that exists in this world, but this water is actually something that is created by God, and now you're revealing the godliness in the water. And this actually affects not just the water that the child is making a blessing on, but in fact, this affects all the waters in the world, whether it's a river or Lake Superior or a swimming pool. This child has now elevated the entire.
Michigan.
That this water all waters of the world have now been elevated. That this is a part of God's creation, and this is exactly what a needle does. A needle takes something and you poke it through, and now you attach this thing, and you show that this thing, you attach this thing in, and you make it now a beautiful garment. And the same thing, that what you're doing is you're taking something sharp, need a little bit of chutzpah, of confidence, and you take that confidence and you poke through the world, and it might not, and you need something, that's when you need something sharp, to go and to elevate, and now you could elevate the world and bring in that godly thread. Now the last part of this is now that one we understand what a needle is. A needle is this idea of bringing. Here, please go. Here, we'll help him. A needle is something that you go and you take, and you're connecting godliness and bring it into the world. So now, what does it mean to purify? Okay. I'll be right back. 1 second. Little break. You have to stop. Stop.
You're only with me. Wait a second.
Okay. Sorry about that. We'll try to finish up. All right. So now we have to understand, what does it mean to purify this needle? So the question is, so we just explained that a child, even a small child, has the ability to reveal godliness into this world through making a blessing, for example. So the question is, how does he have the power to do that? The thing is, you have to purify it first. So what do? You go to a place, you go to a cave, and you're descending into this world. You're going down in a descent, but you're not going all the way down. You're going on the steps. On the steps, you're showing that you're almost out of there. You're almost out of exile. We're on the precipice of leaving exile. And what do? We take Torah. Torah is related to water, and we have to flood ourselves with water. We have to splash the water until the needle is completely immersed. In other words, the child or the adult is completely immersed in Torah, and when the adult or the child is immersed in Torah, then he has the ability to change the world. He himself has become imbued with Torah and godliness, and then he can too change the world and make it a place that he could reveal godliness into this world through that needle, through that Jewish chutzpah, by being proud to be Jewish and proud to do Torah and to do mitzvahs. Thank you everybody for joining. Sorry about the little craziness over here. Wishing everybody a good Shabbos, and God willing, we will see you next week.